everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Joni Young and I'm going to show you step by step how to paint this fantasy landscape today using heavy bodied acrylic paints on a 12 by 16 black primed canvas. This is a stretched canvas and I'm going to go over quickly the colors right now. I'll list them all below in the description of this video. Phthalo blue, titanium white, neon yellow, neon pink, neon red, sap green, turquoise, yellow ochre, and burnt sienna. I'm going to start with a large blending brush. This is number 50 Filbert. You can use any blending brush that you have. I'm going to get my brush just a little bit wet and I'm going to pick up some white and I'm just going to start pulling it back and forth. Side to side down here where it's going to be a little bit narrower. And we're going to have some water down here. Now right away I'm going to pick up some yellow and I'm going to start coming around here, around the left and around the right. Now we can see a lot of the black canvas underneath, and I want that to happen. I want it to be darker around the outside edges and this side down below here. And then as this dries, I can keep building up the center to make it brighter. I'm going to pick up some of my neon red with my white and yellow, all three colors. Very lightly dragging the brush and pulling. I'm going to go across the bottom again, sliding my brush side to side just to add hints of all those colors down below as well. Okay, I'm going to take, without washing my brush, a little bit of turquoise. Just little crisscrosses coming around the edge like this. And this side too. I'm going to pull up slightly right here. So you can faintly see some lines in here, right? And with the brush splitting apart like this, that's how I'm able to do that. And I'm going to quickly dry this off with my hair dryer. Okay, it's all dry. And I'm going to go to a smaller brush. This is Princeton Select Oval Mop 1 inch. I'm going to add a little bit more turquoise now over top. I'm going to tap and then blend a little bit, creating like little taps and then little half circles. So already by doing this, it's drawing our eyes into the center here. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. And then I'm going to take my brush, wiggle it, push flat down to get it nice and flat like this, or you can switch over to another brush. I'm just going to start pulling. Pulling and sliding my brush this way, back and forth. Just like that. And then right away I'm going to take some sap green and phthalo blue, a little bit of burnt sienna. So I'm making a really nice dark color that's more interesting than just using black. But I'm going to go around, so I'm going to go around and kind of swirl like this. Got a little bit of water on my brush just to flatten it a bit more. And you can turn your brush sideways like this and do some skinnier lines to get in there. I'm going to do the same sort of thing over here. So since I've got all these dark colors on here, let's just keep with those colors. So again, phthalo, sap green. Go back like that. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush off. I'm going to switch over to a brand new brush, and I should mention that I received this one of my lovely patrons yesterday. Thank you very much, Lisa. So it's just a nice, really nice flat brush. Okay, so I'm just going to go down like this, making that look like it's farther away. And I'm going to take some of my white, the turquoise, and a little bit of yellow. And I'm going to add it right in here, right here, and in here. So I'm going to cut across and kind of make it loopy. So kind of in, out, swirl. I'm having a lot of fun already with this. I love it when I get that excited feeling while I'm creating, especially when I don't have a reference photo to go by. I'm just completely relying on my imagination. And that's the funnest part. I think it's the most satisfying when you just kind of let go and really trust your mind and your creativeness, your own imagination. I always say that we have an imagination for a reason, and we really don't utilize it enough. We don't use our imaginations enough. As well, want to do the same thing. Actually, no, right here. I think I just want to soften this. Maybe bring this into the foreground so it feels like we're walking right into it. Let's try that. If it doesn't work, I'll just paint over it. No big deal. I'll put a big tree there or something. So I'm just adding those same colors, the white, the yellow, and the green. And it's different, it's a little bit different in every brush stroke, because every time I pick up more paint and load my brush, it's different amounts. I'm doing that purposely so it changes it up. So I'm trying to get a feel of walking into this, but I'm not really achieving that. And I think that I'm going to correct this so you guys can see what I'm going to do. Instead of taking the paint off, I'm going to just pull with those dark colors again. And see how quickly you can do that just by going straight up and down. You won't get the same look if you pull across like that. That only works for the top, so like the grassy area or path. I really want to add some more color to the sky. I'm going to do a second layer now. So I've got a few different mop brushes to use. I think I'd probably be safe, first of all, to use this little tiny mop brush. And of course, by all means, use any brush of your choice. Okay, I'm just gonna put the sun in there, and then I'm gonna pick up my neon yellow, and I'm gonna go around, and I'm gonna go over part of it. That will give me a softer, more of a buttery or lemony yellow. Okay, creating a really nice glow here. Take a little bit of my neon pink and my neon red, and I'm gonna, now if this doesn't work, if it's too much, I'm just gonna start actually tapping in some little bushes in here to get that excess, work out some of that excess paint. And I'm going to take a little bit of white now and start to blend that in. Just a soft little scumble, very delicate. Again, taking a little bit more. We can even add a little bit of it in here. Our turquoise is all dry now. Now I think we could make this look even more interesting by picking up some of our neon yellow, a little bit of white. I'm going to let them blend together. I'm not mixing it on my palette. I'm just going to do some little swirly things. That yellow is really intense. It's going to change up the hue quite a bit. I'm going to go back to my flat brush here, and my neon yellow, I'm going to just place my finger, my pinky, to steady, and I'm going to do a little circle around the sun there. Now down below, I'm going to do the same colors. So I'll take my mixture of neon pink, white, yellow, red, and pull back and forth. I'm going to need more white and more color to make that really show up. So I added a little bit more white. And let's take a little of my brush like this. I've got phthalo blue, white, and I'm just going to push and tap flat like this. You pick up a little bit of that white that's got some of the green in it, a little bit of that turquoise, a bit more blue. Okay, so like this. And just very roughly okay, or you can leave it just dark like that if you want. It's up to you. I like to add a little bit of some color in here. I'm not going to go right up to the top. I want to leave like a black line, and wherever I've accidentally gone over that black line, I'm just going to add it again, like a dark line, not completely black. So I'm going to take my dark mixture, the phthalo, sap green, and burnt sienna, and again, right in here, want it to be darker. And right in here. Okay, and then I'm gonna come over with some white, yellow, and turquoise. And pull this back in. A little bit more color. We're going to have some shadows in here. And along this side too. So just this dark color that I used, I'm just scumbling it off what's left in my brush. It's sort of a dry brush. And I'm just going to go over to another older flat brush. It's a little bit, got a little bit of some poofiness to it. I'm just going to tap with a little bit of water just to thin this out a bit, because shadows should be a bit more transparent and not so solid. Okay, and I just had another idea. Actually, I wasn't planning on this, but just when I did that, I thought, wouldn't it be neat to have another layer here? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my dark colors again, more blue this time, and I'm going to come around here. Okay, so I'm just going to pull little lines like this. And I'm going to come in over top with some of the white and peachy mixture. And we'll do that second layer in there. Maybe I'll pick up more of my turquoise and yellow this time. There, that's kind of fun. I just want to add a little bit more depth in here. Get my dark color again. And scoop and drop. Scoop. Come around the corner here. And then we'll have some shadows underneath here. Maybe we've got a staircase in there, and then a bridge that goes over. That would be fun. A little bridge that goes like that. And then any brush you want, I'm just using the corner of mine. It's just impressionistic, right? We're not out to try and make something look real. This is just fantasy. What else can I add to this? Maybe in here we could have a few waterfalls. In order to do that, I'm going to have to make this a little bit darker in here though. So I'm going to grab my phthalo blue, phthalo turquoise and white, maybe a little bit of that burnt sienna, load both sides, Gonna get a little bit of water on my brush, and I'll come in here. And this is just very patchy right now because we're just adding a dark layer first. So we'll have a waterfall that goes like that, and then maybe a little something else in here. I'm not sure yet about this area down here. That might just stay as is. Haven't decided yet. Okay, so to paint my waterfall, I'm going to use my Eventail fan brush. I'm going to get it wet, and then I'm going to pull and wiggle into this turquoisey mixture here with some white. And I'm going to go slide my brush and then curve over, slide, curve over, and pull down like that. I'll load my brush up again. And then dust back and forth. I think I might have to add a little bit more white to make this really show up. Turn my brush sideways like this. Maybe we will have something else down here. Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure about the whole waterfall at all. I think I might like it better without. Sorry guys if you liked that. It's gone. Just like that. Take it right off. I'm going to go back to, actually this makes a nice sort of a shadowy color here. It looks kind of nice with those peachy tones. And I'm going to add my sunset colors in again. So I'm going to take my neon yellow, pink, white, a little bit of neon red, grab all those colors again, and just start going back and forth. So yeah, I definitely changed my ideas along the way. It's funny because I thought that was going to look nice, but right away I knew that that's not, it just didn't flow nicely for me. Yeah, I like this better. If you guys like the waterfalls, absolutely fine with me if you add it in. I don't mind a bit if you guys want to add that into your versions. Nothing wrong with that. I'm probably going to have a waterfall or two in here somewhere, but I'm not sure where yet. So while I've got this color on my brush, I'm going to come in across the top. I want to add some more yellow. And just filter it over top with some of that turquoise. Now I'm going to bring some of that down in here as well. So not everywhere. I'm just going to do this kind of sporadically. Little hints of it. I'm going to use one of my small Filbert brushes. This is a number 4. And I'm going to make that dark color, phthalo blue and burnt sienna with a little bit of sap green. Mix those colors up. And I'm just going to come right in here. I'm not going to think too much about it or hesitate. I'm just going to keep adding some branches in here. I want them to kind of have like a weaved look. Sort of like my last big tree of lights painting that I did, my video. I'll leave a link somewhere up here. You guys can have a look at that if you haven't seen it yet. It's a really fun one to do. Make this a little bit thicker in here. And a few of these thicker right in here too. It's got to make sense a little bit, right? Even though it's a fantasy piece, it can't be really thick here and then super skinny. The branches get skinnier as they go out. Probably gonna have some little lights hanging, I think. So I'm just doing this just to see if I like that kind of a look. And I think I do. I'll probably switch over to a liner brush here pretty soon. But right in here, I want to add, just washed my brush off and dried it. I'm going to take some of my burnt sienna and, oh, let's see if this works. A little bit of yellow ochre. So I've tapped flat again. I'm turning my hand over like this, finger on here. I'm going to use this like a palette knife. So just pulling and dragging. I think right down here I'm going to add some ferns, but I want to add a little bush first with this small mop brush. So I'm just going to tap with some sap green. A little bit like that, and then we'll come back and we'll have some little ferns after. I'm going to go over to a liner brush now. What I'm going to do is get it really wet and then take some burnt sienna with just a little bit hint of this dark color in here. And I'm going to start adding some smaller branches. So you can push where you want to make them thicker, and you can let go and just use the very tip of the brush where you want it to be. You want them to be a little bit thinner. Just to have something else right in here. Looks like it's missing something. And then I'm going to add some tree roots. Coming down in here. Twisting and rolling and lightly pulling. Let's start with sap green. A little bit of phthalo. And I'm going to go flat across, push, push, push. Oh, actually this is working fine. I'm going to leave some spaces so I can see the colors of the sky shining through or peeking through. And come down to this end. Got a little something out here. Gonna add some little bushes. It just seems like something else needs to be right in here. Okay, now I want to add a little bit of yellow. I'm just going to add it right in here. I'm just going to take a little bit of white. So a little bit of white with that yellow and what's left in my brush of the green and the blue. And I'm going to very lightly tap in here. Subtle little highlights. Go back to this little liner one. And I'm just got a bit of water on it. And I'm just pulling lightly some of that paint that's still wet on there that I just added. We're going to have little lights on the end of these. I don't know what kind of lights. I don't know if they're going to be little lanterns or little stars. I don't know, but it's just really fun adding little lights hanging down from trees. I love that kind of a look. I'm going to add some sparkles and maybe some water lilies down here. Clean brush, a little bit of white and yellow. Going to add some little tiny balls of light. Little dabs. So they're going to be a little bit larger towards us, and then they're going to be closer together and smaller to make it look like they're farther away. What I do need is a really tiny liner brush. It's not the smallest liner brush, but I think this will work. If it doesn't, then I'll have to try to figure something else out. So I'm going to get it wet. Anyways, I'm going to take some white and again, the center, pull and flick. So these ones are closer to us, right? So we're going to make them a little bit bigger. And I'm going to take sap green, yellow, and turquoise. I haven't blended it. And I'm just going to add in some water lilies. Well, lily pads first. So it's like almost a full circle, and then you kind of just leave a little area. A little scoop like that. And then as they get farther away, they can just be little skinny discs. We don't have to do too many of them. I mean, it's up to you how many you want. You can overlap them too to make it look more natural. And then, you know, as the light's hitting them, add some turquoise, white, and yellow. Just have a few like that up here. I'm just taking a little bit of white now with a clean brush, and I think maybe I'll have some little lilies in here. So what you can do is just take your yellow, your pink, all these pretty like sunset colors, just take a scoop of all of them and just pull little petals. You can wait for them, the lily pads to dry first if you want. And then as some of them get further away, you can just push and tap. And I'm going to go back to my larger size pointy brush. And I'm going to start tapping some little lights in here. Now I did this easier in my other video, and I'm going to go back to that method because it worked really well. And what I did was I just took a little Filbert brush. I might have used my larger one yesterday. All of my neon colors with a little bit of white. And I just lightly tapped. I have to use more white because the background's quite light. We're going to soften these, don't worry. I know they look really rough right now. Take some of my yellow, a little bit of pink. And while that dries, I'm going to go over to my neon red. A little bit of neon red with white. Even better. Add some of it side here. A little bit of it just along the edges here. Picked up a little bit of white, that's okay. A little bit of my, oh that's a lot, neon pink. I'm gonna add, because I really like that color, I'm gonna add some flowers in here. And I was gonna do some ferns, I still might. Take a little bit of white with a neon pink and add some little tabs in here, just little tabs, little blobs. I'll take a little bit of my yellow ochre and I'm going to add a little bit here, tiny bit around the center. Yellow ochre is really nice color to add to a painting. Doesn't seem like the nicest color, but it enhances it so much. Take a little bit more of my neon yellow and go over top of that. Blend it in a little bit. And then back to white, right in the center. Now what I need is a little bit more yellow and white down here. That's what's missing. A little bit of turquoise at the base. I'm gonna add some little loopy branches in here, I think. Okay, and I'm using my combination of the yellow ochre with the burnt sienna. So I'm just pulling and sliding my brush into both of them, bringing my brush to a point, I really need to do my little lights down here. Little lights down here at the bottom. My little strings. Little lights that are hanging down. Okay, and then I'm just gonna pull and flick. can do as many as you want. I'm gonna just for fun add a couple up here too. Got a white dot there again. Bubble and flick. Pick up a little bit of pink here. And just brush a little bit of it over around some of these lights because I think it's kind of pretty to have a bit of color to them. And if it's too much, we can just go right back to the white if we want. I'm just redefining this line here with my dark phthalo, burnt sienna, and turquoise mixture, or sap green I mean. I just add a little bit of a shadow in here. I'm going to take some of my neon red with a bit of white. Tree needs to come out a little bit more in here. Show some of those tree roots. Just taking a little bit of that burnt sienna. With a clean brush, take more white. Now I picked up a bit of pink too because all my colors are starting to blend in. I think that'll look nice. Add a little bit more light in here and then I'm going to call this one all done. So yellow, white, and turquoise. And a little bit of turquoise, more turquoise on the far edge here for some more shadow. And then a little bit of phthalo blue. Okay, I'm going to call this one all done. I really enjoy painting this, and I want to thank you guys for joining me today and watching me create this piece. So give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, leave a comment below, and be sure to hit that subscribe at the bottom. See you next time. Bye guys!